Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com. Happy Friday, and today we're going to go into some more really fine-tuning, kind of high-level orthodontics discussions. We're going to be talking about torque. And torque is something that patients don't really understand, and most general dentists don't fully understand it either. The difference between buccal root torque and palatal root torque, and how you can kind of adapt that into your treatment plan for Invisalign or clear liners or braces, and how you can finish your cases more ideally. And torque is the hardest movement from my experience, one of the hardest movements in orthodontics. And it can get very frustrating, and it's a bit of a tricky, slippery slope because it isn't always that hard to straighten the teeth, but getting torque takes a lot more time. And often, one of the biggest mistakes I see general dentists making is that they'll be like, oh, this looks like an easy case, and they'll pick something like Invisalign Light or Express or even Moderate. When I look at a case going, this case is gonna need torque. I know torque takes a good 4 to 6 months extra, an extra 15 to 20 aligners, an extra 6 months in braces. Yeah, I can make the teeth straight, but it's not gonna look good until I get that torque. And you guys finish a case and the patient's like, I don't like the way this tooth looks. Yeah, because it needs torque, and you can't do that in that few of aligners. And so patients are upset because they don't think it looks good. You don't really know how to do it, and you end up spending a lot more money in the long run. So you got to understand torque. So I kind of was looking for some examples. I like to use stock images sometimes because then I don't have to deal with releases and all that. And there's just millions of stock images that you can purchase out there. So I've been kind of combing good ones for torque. Not my favorite examples, but they're pretty good. So let's look at the example on the left. On the left, teeth are straight, right? On the top arch. I mean, we're in a very light wire. I'm doing this in braces just because it's easier to kind of visualize. But same thing if you had an aligner patient. So you can see teeth are straight. Oh, yay. So this is what happens. And let's extrapolate this one more step. There's a lot of doctors out there that are doing some types of branded indirect bonding systems. I'm not going to mention their names, but there are indirect bonding systems out there that you can take a course for. You have to use their brand of brackets. The problem is their brackets are cheap, sloppy, and they don't use torque. So not all braces are alike. Just because you're purchasing braces doesn't mean they have torque built into them. Some braces and systems are meant for round wires. Round wires do not do torque. Got it? So you have to first of all, you have to have a high quality, high level bracket system that an orthodontist would use, okay? So you want to be asking the prescription of the bracket system. And I've got tons of content on this. If you want to learn more about this, go into my YouTube channel. It has to be the StraightSmile Solutions YouTube channel, which now has over 1,000 videos. Put in the word indirect bonding or IDB, and you can get more. You can even put in torque and get more information. But if you want to do indirect bonding and if you want torque, you need to ask the prescription. Most prescriptions, like regular ones that orthodontics will use, first of all, you got to know your slot size. Is it 018? Is it 022? If you don't know your slot size, you can't know if you're getting torque because you have to fill it fully, right? And that's something that we teach doctors about in our straight wire course, or if you work one-on-one in your consulting sessions with us, we go over all this with you if you want to do brackets. So there's benefits to 018, there's benefits to 022. Most general dentists I know are using 022. There's a little more freedom. It's a little bit easier, a little less difficult to use, a little more manageable. I've used both in my lifetime. I personally, in my own practice, did 018, but there were reasons for that. But I recommend you do 022. So in any case, the other two most popular prescriptions that are out there, I would say, are Roth or MBT. So those are probably the top two. Really easy. The good thing about using a system that most people use is that if and when first of all, if you can accept transfer patients easier because more people are matching that system. And you can also, your patients, if they have to move, it's easier for you to find a place for them to go. If you're using something super obscure like Tip Edge or one of these things, forget it. Good luck. You're going to have to pull the braces off. I don't even know how to deal with that. So that's like one system I just don't get. So, yeah. So let's talk about torque. So like I said, it needs to be a regular mini twin bracket system. Torque should be built into the prescription. You have to fully fill it. So obviously we've got tons of videos on wire sequence. You can go into StraightSmile Solutions, type in wire sequence, and we go over the wire sequence. But if you have a case that needs torque, you're gonna have to fully fill the slot. So if it's a 022 slot, I mean, the biggest one I usually can get in is a 1925 into that. I mean, you can probably go one bigger, but it's going to be really hard to pull in and out. So, and that should work as long as you let it cook in the 1925 for a little while. So look at the left patient. Again, we're saying he's straight, but it looks funny, right? Well, that's because literally, if you took a CBCT slice from the side, you'd see that these teeth are super upright, right? They're like literally at a 90-degree angle to the occlusal plane. They need torque, but there's two types of torque, buccal and palatal. So for this patient, the teeth are at a 90-degree angle. They're super upright. I call them Sharky teeth because it looks like a shark, right? Not like a rabbit or a beaver. That would be the opposite. So we need these teeth to stay, the crowns would stay in the same position. The tips of the crowns will stay in the same position, but the roots need to torque palatally and give it a more natural, less upright look. Hey, my teeth are super upright. Like when I did my braces for the third time, I chose not to torque my teeth just because I have almost no roots because my first orthodontist burnt all my roots off with too much heavy wires and power chain. So I chose not to torque my teeth because I figured I'd lose my teeth. But here, this patient needs torque. So they need to work their way up to the 1925, figure eight, tie these real good and tight and let them torque to get a more upright look. So this needs palatal root torque. The roots need to go palatal. It needs palatal root torque. Obviously, we're still aligning on the bottom, but an example. Okay, now for example, let's look at tooth number 7 here. Teeth are straight, just like here. What's wrong? Let's say once we close the spaces, it still was at this inclination. Teeth are straight, but if we took a slice, CBCT from the side, and we looked at the roots, you would see the roots are super palatal. They're like literally this tooth is at a 45-degree angle to the occlusal plane. It looks funny, right? The eminence of it coming out of the, and definitely periodontists do this all the time. You know, when they're setting up implants, they're really good at getting the right angle so it has the right eminence profile or whatever you guys call it. So same thing. This patient needs buccal root torque. This one needs palatal root torque. So we need to upright that root a little bit more so it doesn't look like it's shooting out at like a rabbit or bunny rabbit or beaver profile. I don't know if it's a beaver. Definitely a bunny rabbit, where the teeth are like almost tipped. Even though they're straight, the emergence of the root from the socket is angulated. We want this to upright and have more torque. Same way that we get torque here. And of course, there are torquing springs and all kinds of other funky things and bends you can put in. To be honest, I really don't even use those. I find that they get sloppy, they overdo things. It's really easy to screw things up. I just give it time. Now, that's in braces. So now you understand the difference between needing buccal root torque and needing palatal root torque. You can extrapolate this into your Invisalign treatment plans. So same thing, when you do setups in Invisalign, you'll look at a case and be, that looks straight, but it looks funny. Well, torque isn't something they're gonna put into your treatment plan unless you ask for it. So you're gonna get straight teeth, quick, easy, dirty, as few aligners as the company can give you to save money, but you have to ask for the torque. If you don't ask for the torque, you're not getting the torque, and you need to ask for the right kind of torque. One of the things that kind of drives me nuts with Invisalign is I'll say more torque, and it's pretty obvious for me what type of torque they need to give me. They go, what kind of torque? And if you don't know what kind of torque, you're not getting the right kind of torque. Occasionally I get a smart, treatment coordinator who knows, but the vast majority of them are not orthodontists. They're orthodontists that work on their team, but they're just lay people in Costa Rica that are trained to play this video game with teeth. They have no idea what your patient needs. Now, you can go into the 3D controls and do it, but personally, I've become accustomed as an orthodontist to look at this. I need this. This is the movement I need. I write it down, and now you do it. I'd rather have I'm paying $18.73 or whatever for a treatment plan. You guys can spend 30 minutes playing with the buttons. I'm gonna tell you what I need, and now you can find a way to do it. I do not sit there and play with the 3D controls. I got better things to do. So I know we need it. Now you put it in and make it look good. So I know that's kind of ridiculous, but that's how I am. Any case, you need to tell the Invisalign treatment planner that you need torque. Now, one of the quick and dirty ways that they get torque is by putting on power ridges. Personally, I hate power ridges because from a patient's perspective, if you ever had patients that have a lot of power ridges, they hate it because it juts the plastic out and cuts their lip. You don't need power ridges to get torque. You can just take some additional aligners, which is healthier for the patient and more comfortable, or you can put attachments on that help with torque. But if you ask for torque, most of the time they will give you power ridges, which is not wrong. It's just not my favorite way. But in any case, if you know that your patient needs torque, when you're looking at a case to start, you should not be selecting express, light, or moderate. You should be selecting comprehensive all the time, which is why I recommend that you always build all patients up as comprehensive patients, unless they are a limited patient. Now, if your patient is requesting quick, easy, dirty, no molar movement, front teeth only, easy improvement only, not perfect, then you need to have that type of consent form. Because what's going to happen, and you can't be billing necessarily D80-80, D80-90. You have to be billing the limited. Now this opens up a whole nother conversation. I've got tons of videos about this, as well as you should definitely watch our most recent webinar, which is in my YouTube channel. It's at the very top. You'll see us talking about it. We go into this a little bit more. You can't be billing comprehensive if you're only doing straight, quick, dirty, easy front teeth only. It's real borderline, in terms of insurance issues. So if your patient's trying to be cheap and just get a couple teeth moved, that's totally fine. But unless you have the right documentation backing that up in terms of what you're offering the patient, you're obligated to give the patient perfect, which may mean you're going to lose money on this case with the lab fee if they don't like the way it looks at the end. So keep that in mind. All right, again, just a reminder, if you need help on a case, you're welcome to schedule an appointment at StraightSmileSolutions.com. Go to services to schedule as little as one appointment, 20 minutes, one case. We can help you with that case. You can try it out. All right, thanks so much.